Hello and welcome back to the Hands-On Lab, Configuring Logical Volume Management. I'm Ross Brunson, your training architect and your lab guide. Let's go ahead and jump right into the lab and get started. In task number 1, we're going to be displaying our physical disk layout, noticing the additional disks that we have. We're going to partition and set the type of those disks to prepare them for use with LVM. Then we're going to create an LVM physical volume out of those additional disks. There may be a troubleshooting step here where we have to use WipeFS in order to clean off the disks from anything that may have been on them before or something that may have been set on them by the system itself. Let's run lsblk and inspect the disks. And there you see XVDB, C, and D. Those are 2 gig additional disks. And what we're going to do is we're going to sudo fdisk and then dev xvdb. This is hard to type. I have to type in the cloud user password, and then we're going to do the following for each one of them. I'll go through all 3 of them anyway. So N for new, P for primary, and then we're going to take the default, and take the default. We need to P print out so we can see that it's type 83 of Linux right there. And so that means that we need to hit T for type. We can do an L the first time to list all the codes, and we're going for type 83. And so type 83, 8 echo is, there we go, Linux LVM right there. So we're going to do an 8 echo, do that. P for print, notice that it's set to 8 echo Linux LVM, and write the disk. So we're going to do this for all 3 of the disks in order. So N, P, default, P for print, T for type, 8 echo, P for print, and write. Do that for the 3rd one. Primary, default, P for print, T for type, 8 echo, and P for print again. This is going to have taken those disks and put a partition on them. If we do a lsblk -f, you can't see the partition type. There really isn't any way to show that to you. But what you can do is you can do a sudo fdisk -l, pipe that to grep, and then search for -i LVM. And that'll come back and show you that those disks are all set to the type of LVM. So once we've done that, we should now be able to run a sudo part probe. So sudo part probe, which will let the kernel know everything that we've done here. And we should, at this point, be able to create our physical volume out of the disk. So what we'll do now is we'll do a sudo pv create and then dev xvdb1. And if we get an error, we didn't get an error. We might have had to have used WipeFS in order to be able to wipe anything else off of this, like GPT signatures, etc. So now we should be able to go up and change that to C and do a PV create, and then change this to D and do a PV create. And now what we can do is clear our screen again, and let's do an lsblk -f, and then look and see, yes, we have signatures on each one of those, and they are now physical volumes or LVM member volumes, and they have their own UUID, etc. So this is what we needed to do in this task. We also can do a sudo pvs, and this will let us know that those volumes are ready, although they are not actually formed into a volume group yet. That's what we'll do next. So that's the end of objective or task number 1. We'll see you in task number 2.